What's going on, my fellow e-bikers? Have you thought about taking your kid out with you on your e-bike, or maybe your grandkid? I thought I might take a quick second today to show you some of the bike seats that I've used for my daughter. She's a little over 2.5 now, and she loves to go out on rides with me, right? You can't say bike ride around her without her getting excited. So she loves it. I like to take her out, and I want to show you this one today right here. If I can get it in camera for you. This is the Your bike seat. I bought it on Amazon. It was like 99 bucks. I'll link it below so you can see what I'm talking about. But there's one extremely important thing to know about this kid seat that you got to check before you buy it to make sure it's going to work on your bike. But before we get to that, let me show you what I was using, what the first seat was that we tried out. So this is the seat that we were using. It's a Schwinn bike seat, and it was great for when she was smaller. I really felt that she was locked in there and she wasn't going to fall out. You got a padded seat, padded back rest, straps go over their shoulders, the bar that they can hang on to and also holds them in. Their feet get locked in, these are adjustable. It really just kind of keeps them nice and cozy in there, right? And I mean, she would often fall asleep as we were riding in this one. But this seat did have a couple drawbacks. It's not the easiest to install and uninstall. You know, you got to make sure the bottom of the rack, there's some plastic tabs underneath and they have to slide onto the rack appropriately, and then this little lever's got to flip over all the different metal bars and you got to lock it down. With this thing, it's like one of those pressure caps like on a pill bottle. You have to push down and turn, and then you lock it in with the pin on the back, and there's kind of a lot of steps to it. It's not meant to be taken off and on every single time you ride. It gets annoying after a while, and it doesn't fit on just any rack. It comes with its own custom rear rack that this seat fits into, and you can only use that rear rack. So you have to make sure the rack that comes with this is going to fit on the bike you want to use it on, and then it's kind of a pain in the butt taking it off and on a lot. If you're just going to put it on the bike and leave it on, then you'll be fine. Now let me show you what we upgraded to. This is the Your bike seat that I bought off of Amazon. I think it was like 99 bucks. I'll link it, of course. I'll link both these seats so you can see them. But it's a much nicer looking construction instead of the cheap plastic. It looks to be aluminum, and kind of color matches my bike nicely. It's got a nice seat on there that's somewhat soft. I mean, not a bad ride. We don't go for really long rides, so that's kind of why I went with this route. If I was going to go for a 20-mile ride, I'd put her in the seat probably, but this one's good for the short trips that we take. But besides being a nicer looking construction on this kid seat, it's also easier to take it off and on this bike. The seat post clamp is just a quick release, so that comes off in a few seconds. And then really the only other thing holding it on, the front part just rests on the frame here with this rubber piece. And this right here, this little piece, just, it's not really touching anything. It just keeps it from falling off the bike should it ever get loose, which I don't know why it would, because you're gonna have the down pressure of the kid riding here. So it's really locked in place. It's not going anywhere. So taking it off, you just release this right here. There's a little slide and that pops off like that. So that piece is undone, and then you got a quick release on the seat clamp and you just pull it off. It's super simple to take this thing off and on. I can take it off in probably, less than 15 seconds, and I can put it back on probably less than 25-30 seconds. It's much quicker, less cumbersome than the seat was. Now, I mentioned at the start of the video, there's one important thing you need to know about this type of seat if you're looking to put it on an e-bike. I specifically ride only e-bikes. If you're gonna buy this for a mountain bike, you'll be fine. Probably fit almost any mountain bike. But for an e-bike, the thing to consider is the width between these posts that come down, that their foot pegs are on. There's one on each side, right? The width between those, so this distance right in here, is 2.5 inches. So you gotta make sure that the bike you're gonna put it on, your frame right here, or your battery that's typically mounted right there, it's got to be 2.5 inches or less. This barely fits on this Bike Tricks bike. You can see it's right up against there on each side, because that battery is basically 2.5 inches wide. So out of the 13 e-bikes that I own, this seat only fit this one. This was the only one. Like, what are the chances of that? I bought it with the intention of putting it on this bike, and then randomly, this is the only bike that it fits because of that. A lot of the other bikes I have, the Snap Cycle, I'll give you a close up on the frame. See, it's got that really wide frame with the battery integrated into it. So it's not gonna fit that. Those leg posts won't go around that. So this thing's not gonna fit a Rad Rover, a snap cycle, a magic cycle, an event and adventure, any bike that's got a wide frame right there, this Cyrusha Komoda bike with the battery built in the frame right here, it's not going to fit any of those simply because of where these leg posts come down. There's no widening them out any. So yeah, just make sure if you're looking at buying this type of kid seat to put on an e-bike, make sure that the leg pieces that come down are wide enough to go around your battery and around your frame. Now I've had this bike seat for about a week or so. We've been out on numerous rides with it. My daughter, again, she's approaching 3, so she's able to hang on and stay on there no problem at all. I was a little surprised with how easy the transition was from this to this. I mean, she hopped on and was ready to go, you know, grabbed onto the handlebar here. It kind of functions as a handlebar for them to hold on to, and then also if you'd brake hard, they would run into that and they're not going to fly off the front. But she sat on there and rode no problem. It was actually a lot more enjoyable for me to have her up here, where she's right in between my arms, and I can talk to her as we ride. We're kind of experiencing the e-bike together at that point, instead of me just looking in the rearview mirrors to see if she fell asleep in the kid seat yet. So I like it much better. I think she enjoyed it a lot more too. She's more in the action and really had no trouble, you know, moving to this style of seat. There are a couple adjustments you can make on this. The seat is stationary. It doesn't go up or down, front or back, nothing. It's locked in place. The adjustments are, you can extend this back like another ½ inch or so. There's 2 different bolt holes here. I shrunk it down as small as it would go, but you could, you know, if your distance between seat post and frame is a little bit larger, you can move this out like another ½ inch. The other adjustments are, well, you can adjust the strap so it tightens down on their foot. And then the other thing to adjust is where this rubber mount piece hits the frame. That's what protects your frame. And that's the front of this thing is kind of resting on this rubber piece. And that can be adjusted up or down in these slots right here. So you can expand it that way, but you can't expand the width between these down pieces. Yeah, that's about all the adjustments. I mean, you can move this handlebar angled differently if you'd like. There's a quick release lever on it over here. So you can adjust handlebar, you can adjust a little bit by the seat post, and you can adjust the frame mounting rubber piece here up and down. That's it. Those are the only adjustments on it. And I'm not sure what else you want to know about it. If you got questions on it, you can drop them in the comments. I'll try to answer. But I'd seen a couple people riding around with their kids using this setup and was kind of curious which one I should get. There was a bunch of different options out there. I went with this one. I lucked out that it just happens to fit the exact bike that I wanted to use it on. I guess another important thing to mention though is where it clamps onto your seat post. You have to have your seat post up pretty high. I mean, this seat post is about as high as I would want it. I'm 6 feet tall and my feet, I can't flat foot really with how high this is. And that's going to be on almost any bike. It's going to require that the seat post goes up pretty darn high. So be prepared to be comfortable on a tall seat height. I wanted to use this bike because of that. I knew I was going to have to put the seat post up a little bit. And this bike has smaller tires. It's 24-inch tires instead of 26. So it worked out. The stars aligned for me and it ended up being a perfect fit on this bike. I think it looks good on there too. And more importantly, I hope you found some of the information in this video helpful. And if you like e-bikes and e-bike related products, definitely do me a favor, consider hitting subscribe and checking out some of my other video content. I think that's all for today. Thank you everybody for watching.